It's a machine. It's a steaming machine that I have actually too in the cellar, and it's quite a nice. It does this steam basically and sort the grapes. And
there is a cleaning part.
Oh really? Oh yeah. Well, I don't have fun. Well, is your next toy? Next time for next year.
No. So anyway, I had Eamon on the phone and
this sort of machinery costs about 40,000 euro.
Yeah, and it sorted out a couple of little dry grapes, and that was about what it did for us. So we were testing it because we have a buddy in the village who, was doing testing. So
that's good.
Yeah, we don't really need that kind of equipment.
So Jen and Didier, you've had clearly you've had a busy day. What's a day like in the thick of harvest at this time of year for you guys?
We wake up at 6:15 in the morning, and I went directly to the bakery looking for the bread for the breakfast.
This is very important.
It's the first thing to do. And we start harvesting. I did some measure in the winery to taste and measure the fermenting vats we have, the white and the rosé. And Chelençon, we pick up it a couple of days ago. And after we went picking in the vineyard with a group of volunteers, we were 14 people.
Yeah, we were not expecting 14. So people sort of brought friends.
So does that mean that you said volunteer? I mean, you're not paying them, like they're coming to help you?
We pay in food, Benjamin. We pay in food. They are paid. Not in sausage.
Oh, wow. And
sausage. Yes. Yes. And they get, it's really all you can eat. We do not take advantage of them. But we actually don't take advantage of them to a point where they then bring friends. So we had 10 plans today.
So it's fun, it has to be fun.
And there were 14 of them. So,
14 is it's a
14.
big number.
Yeah. And we had a big lunch table with all the team. And we had I drove the tractor to looking for the Syrah. Some friends are picking it by machine.
The machine.
Okay, so you only pick by hand in the morning and by machine after. Yeah.
So machines, team breakfast in the vineyard, team lunch at the house. The machine arrives, and then there's the table and the machine and the machine and the machine, and then Eamon calls, and then it was madness. So we're there. We did it. It's in. Good, it's beautiful.
Well yeah.
We're happy.
And how about you, Ben and Kat? How's your day been?
Yeah, no, good. Like pretty similar day too. Like we picked some Syrah actually. It was not the first. Like we started yesterday because we started yesterday some Syrah. And we got stopped by the rain, so it was a bit messy. Like we stopped, we've got actually at the moment in Maris 30 pickers that we pay.
They don't eat. They don't eat. I mean, this is a difference. They don't eat.
I should change strategy because it's probably good.
We should give them sausage. Fun strategy.
But it's been yesterday was a nightmare because we had a bit of rain, starting again, and crazy. so we stop and start about 3 times during the day, and then we end up stopping. So we only did half a day in the whole day. So that was really not a good, very efficient day. And today we sort of we finished that block of Syrah, and I sort of decided to also finish a bit earlier because I thought at the moment, and I'm sure Jen and Didier is the same, I'm watching the weather about 25 times a day, at least with 2 or 3 different sites because
to make sure that they're right, you don't want to be wrong.
I always trust the one who tell me the right weather that I want. But so it's quite stressful because the weather is a bit unstable. The grape quality and I mean health is quite fragile at the moment. There's a bit of the fragility. So we are on limbo at the moment. Basically the next 2 weeks going to be how can we push to get the right ripeness
Totally.
Should we wait a bit more? So I was deciding, so tonight I decided that actually I'm not going to pick this weekend, and we're going to wait another 3 days before we're starting again. So another Syrah. Yeah, more Syrah. Yeah, more Syrah. Yeah, and so so we also have like little problem with like a little worm in the. So yeah, it's not an easy year. Like it's
no, it's not an easy year.
It's I think it's definitely a challenging year for
in lots of ways.
For some more than others. I have friends who really are complaining, but it's
I think in Corbière that's quite. I mean, really, honestly, like we finished most of the white and the rosé, and I think that's outstanding.
I think that was really good.
Yeah. So there's quality, there's quantity, and the red, it's early stage, and it's really going to depend on the weather now. Like it's the weather where we are is so important because we get north wind or south wind, and the north wind is what we want at the moment. It's a dry wind to maintain basically the grapes ripening and no rot. Where if the wind from the sea arrives, then really even with no rain, it can go off. So so it's really like we're looking at that. So I'm sure we're all the same at the moment. Like
Well, I can speak on behalf of all of our angels watching tonight as an avid wine drinker. We're very happy to have you guys, the experts, in control of things. And even we had Matt Parrish calling in from Napa yesterday from the vineyards, and he showed us the smoke beat right behind him, and Rod was down in New Zealand telling us about the frost he's going through and trying to battle that, and it really kind of brings it home. We shell out 8, 10, 12, 15 pounds a bottle, which it's a lot of money, but equally you guys put in so much graft and hard work into doing what you do, and it's great for these sort of sessions for all of us to kind of understand and gain a greater appreciation for what you do. So it's a real privilege and to be able to talk to you guys and drink your wines with you. We'll just we'll kick off there. We're on Facebook now. So welcome to everyone tuning in tonight. I am Eamon, the wine guy. This is our third session of our Thursday installment of Virtually Naked. I'm joined by the legendary Kat and Ben Darnault, and who lots of you will know of, household names for going back years and years. And then joined by our recent heroes, Jen Book and Didier, surname? Ferrier, of course, sorry.
Got it.
Jen and Didier, who I think it's fitting on the night we launch our latest COVID rescue case of several French producers. We go back to the second original COVID rescue deal we did with Jen, and maybe revisit for a bit of a Jen and Didier, the sequel installment of how has life been since that night 3 or 4 months ago, back in May or June was it, when everything changed. So I'm really excited to be talking to you guys tonight. Thank you so much for taking some time out of a really busy time of year, and we know it's late in France, so just really appreciate it. And I am in good company here. I've got the Ventilo, the Nebulo, is it? The Ventilo. And I've drunk so much wine at this point, I don't even know what I'm doing. The Wazzo as well. So hopefully lots of people who supported you, Jen, in the original deal are drinking your wines tonight, and Ben's as well. So yeah, we'll kick off. Maybe just Jen, tell us about your experience of the night and what's happened since.
It's been pretty crazy. It was difficult to believe in the beginning. I was online and I didn't know that Ben and Kat were going to be on our interview, and so they came on, and that was a sort of a moment of emotion. And it's been kind of, it's taken kind of the entire time for it to sink in, really, that there are all of these really major changes that have actually happened. So one thing I think that was really kind of a big thing in the beginning was that that we have archangels. So we have archangels that really are looking after us.
So watch your back.
They're watching my back. So I have on my telephone, I have the archangel group, which changes its name often. And then I have a specific Simon Fisher group. So I have my archangels who are wonderful, who I will mention. I do love you, Beth and Phil and Simon, who when I first got a negative comment, before the negative comment, I had even read the comment. I had lines of, okay, we're ready. We're here. We've gotten one. Now we're here with you. This is what you do. This is how we deal with this. Like I had a team that was like breaking the news to me easily. So I wouldn't, it wouldn't be hard for me. And so the whole community, I think I didn't really realize how real it was. So the contact with the angels and then the sort of accompanying that contact with the archangels, I didn't get the whole idea. And now I really do. Like the way that I'm harvesting, and I'm sure that Simon is answering before I've even thought of getting up or getting to my computer. People are really like, there's a group that's just really, I think, that whole community was sort of a discovery. So that's cool. I mean, Benjamin had sort of told me about that, but I didn't really, and I knew that Kat was responding to people. I didn't really get it. So I get it now.
I suppose until you're in it, it's hard to explain.
You don't really understand. Like it's real. Like these people are really supporting you. They're there. They're telling you what they like, and then I think watching, because I watched the Australians and I watched South Africans as well, and there were several things that really resonated about the way that this support is allows you to sort of take a step back and to think about, like, we're farmers, we're in the vineyards, we're growing grapes, we're not sourcing grapes, we're not choosing grapes, we have our grapes. And so there was the farming issue, and that was our first task. We did that, really worked on the farming. So Didier's really sort of gotten in there and has been really making these vineyards better. And then there's the sales issue. And I was like, okay, we have all this time that's dedicated to trying to figure out how to sell this wine. And then we sort of removed that from the table. And now I can really, I'm communicating with Ray, I'm communicating with Benjamin, I'm communicating with my enologists. Like, I have time to think about winemaking and about questions about how to make wine and where we want to go with our wines. And I think that now with 6 months time, or whatever, how many months it's been, I think it's going to guide us in totally different directions. Like, we can really take the time to get better at what we're doing. It's kind of amazing. So that's where we are in so many words. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. And you still do that with being in communication. So with actually the people who drink your wine, that's what's amazing, is like you don't have to deal with, because most of the time when you sell to buyers, you sell to middle people that you need to charm, that you need to discuss, where with Naked, basically we are in contact with our end customers, which is quite rare. I mean, you guys, you do have that too, because you have a cellar door, like you sell direct to customers, but that's a small proportion, or like a proportion of that, but the rest is middle people. And with that, we are in contact. I mean, there's hundreds of people, thousands of people that we can discuss, and that's
feedback. It's very new for us to have this quality of feedback. It's not only I like or I don't like. They describe the sensation, tasting the wine.
I drank your Wazzo with haggis. I got myself some haggis, and I tried it with that Wazzo. It's really cool. You really feel like you.
That must be right.
I like haggis. It was good. Yeah. No, it's pretty exciting. It's really,
it is strong. It is very strong. Yeah.
It is very strong. And talking to Ray, I mean, we've discussed samples and sent him some things, and he's given me some feedback. And it's he wrote me an email, and then there were details he wanted to go over with me. So I got a phone call. We talked about the wine and what we wanted to, it was very rough sample. And he's like, what should we do with this? Where are we going to go with this? He took the time to actually talk me through it. And so we discussed, where he thought that, I should think about it. And what,
it's like
he didn't just say, I'm not sure about that.
We are in the same team.
Yeah, it was amazing. I was like, I'm going to really learn something here.
Yeah,
I think
it is that.
it really,
and the level of professionality, I mean, the level of all the winemakers and also the staff. I mean, like Ray, I mean, if we want to talk about Ray, you know, he's an amazing taster. He's probably one of the best taster I know. He's got amazing knowledge. So he's there. Yeah, we have him next to him and we can say, hey, what do you think that? What do you think? And yeah, there's amazing knowledge, like where we can suck that. And we can really, yeah, get help from each other. I mean, yeah, we communicate with Jen, talking about technique, and that's what we've been doing with all the winemakers in Naked. Is like we do spend time communicating. I mean, I was on the phone with Matt Parrish a couple of days ago. Like we're discussing a lot, like because I mean, like that's like when you said that, you know, when I was talking about my little problem about like, you know, a bit of rain tomorrow and a bit of rain, and I said. Yeah, that's like, man, what they're going through at the moment is so rough.
Nothing. I know, California, they're all burning.
But yeah, so that's good. Like we do support each other. Like there's yeah, and though we learn a lot too. Like we learn.
We do. I know I have friends in California, and I'm worried about fires. And you think, you know, we're looking at our weather and we're worried about our details, but it's true that there are people who really have it difficult this season.
Yeah.
Even when I was watching the Australians and they're talking about the science of getting smoke off of grapes, that, you know, I know they deal with that in California as well, and it's really, really complicated to deal with that, where we, you know, for the moment are very blessed.
Last year in this area, they have to deal with.
Yeah, I know.
Fire.
I know. So we hope he finds some good ways to get smoke off his grapes.
So will we try some wine together, guys? So we'll try.
Yeah, we can do that.
Nebulo, your white wine, Jen.
Yeah.
Ben and Kelly, you got that wine as well. Good stuff. So talk us through this one.
All right, just pouring my red back in the bottle so I can get some. There you go.
I like your style.
You don't have to burn
It's harvest. You need all the energy you can get.
You got it. Yes. Nebulo.
We drank nearly already the bottle.
I feel like cheese now.
I know. It does that.
Crackers.
I know. It's what I go to when I come in at lunch from the harvest. It's
That's
like
beautiful.
Fresh. You know, I want it just
Great nose. Beautiful nose.
Yeah.
So what are the grape varieties in here, Jen?
So what
should people be looking for when they're tasting this?
So this is Roussanne and Grenache Gris.
Okay.
So more Roussanne. Yeah, this is our first year with the Grenache Gris, and we've had a bigger harvest this year than we did last year in both. So yeah, it's
C'est l'assemblage des jus avant fermentation.
Yeah. I'm getting French here. We have he's just saying that we blend the juices before fermenting. So it's actually co-fermented, right? Do both of them together. So yeah, I need to do my Katie Jones tasting.
No, it's great because what I like about the Grenache Gris there is that very nice juiciness which make the wine. Because you know, in the south of France, you can easily make some wine who are a bit big, a bit thick. So you were always looking for acidity and.
I wanted to keep it sort of
generous in the same time, very juicy, very long.
Yeah.
I want to keep it sort of light and fresh.
And it gives a kind of tension.
Yeah.
To the juice.
Tension. You want that.
And it's sort of wine who actually can age. You know, I mean, Roussanne is a very aging variety, and Grenache Gris also can age quite well. So I'm sure those wine in 4 or 5 years will be really nice too.
Really, wow.
We should go back and taste the older vintages.
I love the nose. I think it's great. Very fresh.
And Kat, I look at your Instagram on a daily basis with total envy at the amazing dishes you cook up. What sort of meal do you think this would go nicely with?
I mean, we've had dinner a couple of hours ago. I'm really desperate to have some really good, strong cooked cheese and crackers with it, actually. That would be my first choice. After that, I'm not sure. I'd probably like to do fish with that. Maybe oysters. Would oysters go?
With it a lot.
Angel like
it's got a really fresh, vibrant nose like sea flavors would really be nice with that, I think. So at this time of day right now, cheese and crackers, but otherwise maybe seafood, shellfish, anytime. I mean, I'm happy to drink white wine with anything, basically.
It's apéro wine, and it's also apéro.
And food wine. I like
Yeah.
I love the acidity of white wine with food. I find it's a really lovely balance, especially if there's a little bit of fat in there. It's a good complement to cut through that fat and freshen up your mouth again.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Ooh, sounds good.
The interesting thing, like white wine in our area is it was not very big even like 20 years ago, because people used to drink more pastis or ricard. And also muscat.
But they drink wine cut with water.
Yeah. But now I suppose, like there's more and more great white wine in our area. Like, we know that in the Languedoc we can make some amazing white wine now. So, and everyone's starting to drink that now. And I'm sure, Didier, which is from the area, I'm sure when you were young, you didn't drink white wine at the bal du village or at the party. That was more like
I love it.
Muscat,
bal masqué.
beer.
Pastis. Yeah.
Yeah, because there was only red and muscat, like white, didn't, even rosé, there was not that much at the time.
That already sounds very civilized for an Australian.
It does, totally. Except the pastis, not super civilized, but you know.
So Jen, tell us when the naked order came through and you realized I got a lot of bottles to bottle up and label up and ship off to the UK. How did that whole process go?
It was pretty crazy because we had never bottled that many bottles. I mean, bottling was done, but labeling, we didn't own a forklift at that time. And we have a beaten earth floor in the store. It's an old barn where we have our wine stored. So moving that much wine through our very small labeling machine. We bought a forklift. We needed a forklift. Thank you for our forklift. Didier drove, of course, the forklift home.
They were great photos.
I got it from the.
I'm glad I didn't know he was doing that.
From a neighbor village cooperative of Puchéric.
Yeah.
And,
he knows everybody.
I know that they had a used one to sell, and I call asking, and the guy know me, and I tell I'm Didier Ferrier from Douzens, I'm making wine. Oh yeah, Monsieur Ferrier.
Yeah, Monsieur Ferrier.
And they were at a meeting speaking about this machine to sell, and he tell me you just call at the right time. It's for you.
That's correct.
Oh wow!
So he went to the village and drove the forklift back on the road, taking photos of the road. And
I know, I do like those selfies behind the wheel. Keep them going.
It's like, not only are you driving a forklift on a road, but you're taking photographs of it. Like, oh. So anyway, we have the forklift, and then we did this like eternal labeling run that just went on forever. We had a stagiaire at that time. We had like an apprentice who was there. And he had worked on a bottling line previously. He was actually really good on the bottling line, which was a good thing because we needed him.
How many bottles was that?
We made these massive piles.
You work for.
How many bottles did you have to label?
Huh?
How many bottles did you have to label?
It was 7,200, I think. For us, that's it's unbelievably huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was huge. And so of course we were not organized for this. So we blocked in all of our rosé and our white with the order. So until the order left, we had no rosé and no white. We couldn't get at it. We couldn't label it. It was in there. So we were like, how do we do this? So we're gonna get better at that. Logistics. We're gonna get better at that. Yeah. So it was exciting. It was really exciting. We kept seeing it pile up and we're like, oh, it's going. Look at it, it's going. Yeah.
Were you a bit apprehensive? Because I remember when I started with Naked, it was like a long time, 10 years ago now. Like when Rohan at the time was telling me, okay, we're going to buy that amount of wine from you. And I was like, yeah, well, are you like, I didn't trust it. So like in the beginning, I was not like, I said, no, well, wait and see. And it happened, so I was like, yeah, I was a bit in doubt with it.
You have to believe.
I mean, at the time, Naked was not what, I mean, it was really early stage, but I was like, until I saw the money in my account, I was like, I didn't believe it.
I know. Well, I know you, and I believe that your wine is going somewhere. So, you know, it was easy for me.
No, at the time, I mean, like there was, I know at the time I didn't exist as a brand. so that's, that was early stage. So
Yeah,
that was really, no, it was, I mean, I suppose, yeah, I mean, for you, you knew, I mean, I was giving it credit, but yeah, it's like, wow, that's so magic. It's like, it's magic.
Even in the position where, you know, it was still magic. It was still magic. When it was like you receive a purchase order and then you see the number of bottles next to the purchase order, it's like, oh my God, Didier, come look. It's there. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Must
And
be so
what does that support meant to you, Jen, to your business?
Well, there's the forklift. Now I think it really is. It has changed the way that we looked at pretty much everything. I mean, at that time we were going into the COVID thing. We had all the markets that were canceled because I do a farmers market and I do night markets in our village, and we have kind of a small production, so those things are relatively important. And so I was, you know, you're in a zone. You have these little where your wine is going, and I think that the big thing has been really what I was saying earlier, that step back, where because last year as well, it was sort of an interesting crossroads where we really had a massive harvest. We harvested last year 60% more than we usually do in the same vineyards. So we had this enormous harvest, and then we had this sort of financial limbo
quality.
With huge quality. So
we never saw this kind of vintage.
Our best vintage ever.
Yeah.
And it was 60% more than normal. And so we had to sort of deal with what to do with that, because you have to actually pay for the bottles when you put the wine in the bottles. So that was a lot of bottles. And it was really beautiful quality. But we, you know.
First we saw selling a part in tank.
We were going to
be able to have enough money to
color bottle the rest of it. It was like we're doing all of this weird shifting to try and figure out how to keep as much of it as possible. And so when we first heard that there was, I went around and did a little video and I was showing everything in the winery, and there was this very small tank of Mourvedre, and I was like, you guys have saved this tank. Like, I wanted to save this tank. We didn't know if we could bottle it. It was kind of a lot of money. And so it's like, well, you know, we've got support, we're keeping the tank. And we've even,
and also because we edge wine.
And so because you're getting in 2014 Wazzo, that means we have the 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 that are in bottles. So adding this massive harvest to that, it just was a lot of bottles. And if you have financial uncertainty in front of you with that many bottles, it becomes sort of not an intelligent choice to put all of it in bottles. Whereas when Naked came in, it became an obvious intelligent choice. This was beautiful wine. We needed to bottle it, of course. You know, you suddenly have the money to do it. You suddenly have a place to sell it where, I mean, it's future wine. So I think that allowed us to really look at things differently.
Yeah, it gave us good perspective.
Totally.
More tranquil.
Yeah, definitely. Much sort of more relaxed.
Yeah.
And in that way, I think that it really allows for
to make a good choice.
Yeah.
To have enough.
To make good choices about what we're going to keep and what we're going to do with it, but also about being able to really move forward on smaller, more specific things. Like I was talking to Ray the other day about mouthfeel and really working on one of these new wines and finishing it off really in an elegant way. And so those details of really trying to like discuss at the end of winemaking, how to make it really that much nicer, that much finer. I was talking to Benji about like, what do I do with this wine? How do we actually, you know, make a finished wine really beautiful and presentable? I'd never gotten there before. Because
spend a bit more time on your art, like you didn't really have that privilege.
We didn't have that time. There was no way. Yeah. And so this has allowed us to really say, you know, that we don't have to worry about. And we have all of it really, now I'm talking to the enologist. I was like, okay, when we're going to put this in the bottles, I want to go through and look at the finding and look at the finishing and see how we can make better wine. Like it really is just the final result. We can make better wine. Yeah.
That's
it's
amazing
fantastic.
To hear.
It's really
I mean, you've started a very high standard, so to think it might even get better, that's
it will get better. It really, there's such a margin for improvement. Yeah. I mean,
so I've got the rosé in my glass here, Jen.
Yes.
Ben, you got the same wine as well.
The rosé.
And I was super excited myself and Ray when you sent this over to us back in the day. Grape we'd never heard of. The taste was so French, so evocative of like good times in the past. Talk us through this one, if you would.
So this is the best rosé we've ever made. Just to go start there. It is easily the best rosé we've ever made.
That's a great start.
It's much better than the previous roses we've made. And the Chenonceau grape is just a really interesting grape. It has a lot of really amazing fruit, and it's also quite long. Like it makes a very intense red wine, and so it's in this wine, it has this sort of wild strawberry character when it's fermenting. It smells like strawberries. It's very...
Actually, the winery is full of this smell.
It's full of this sort of really intense... Sometimes people even say like strawberry candy, like fraise tagada, which is really intense, like synthetic strawberries. And I'm just like, strawberries. And so that, it's kind of interesting because it is so rare and it is so sort of strawberry. So... I don't know. It's kind of I really enjoy drinking this wine. I find that it's really easy, pleasing wine to share with people. And we had made kind of a lot more of it last year than usual. And
this year.
Well, yeah. And this year we've had a smaller harvest. But so now everyone wants more. So we'll see what to do about that.
Me too.
Good. Yeah. So
that's a basis for us.
Jen and Didier, I remember when you guys brought us a sample of this over for your birthday lunch, actually.
Yeah, that was pre-bottling or just after bottling.
And it wasn't labeled.
Just been bottled. There were no labels.
And I had some dry duck sausage, saucisson, on the table. And it was a really great match, that sweetness of that tangy rosé with the nice saucisson. And I remember that was a really good match. Yeah, like a really good aperitif start off. But I love that with Mille. I love rosé with Milles. I think it's great.
I like it to be sort of, like I'd say with the white, you want to have a good tension, you want to have good acidity and have enough of that fruit to sort of carry it through. And I think I think it really does. Like, I think that sort of...
And I actually never worked with Chenonceau. Like it's actually, I don't know the grapes. Like I know about it, but I never worked about it. Yeah. So it's quite a productive grape. Like it's generous, is it? So it's perfect.
The idea when they create this grape this was the idea.
Yeah.
To have a generous grape, but with a quality of perfume.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very perfumed.
I think it could be even more generous yields wise if it were a younger vineyard. It's getting to be kind of a mature vineyard.
What is that, Jen?
And it's grown in double cordon de royal.
Yeah, how old's the vineyard? I'm bad with remembering numbers.
My father planted in 85.
Yeah.
1980.
Oh, okay. I thought that's the vineyard you planted yourself.
No,
we inherited it.
No. And when we decided to make wine, I remember we were thinking about this plot. What do we do? And
we were dubious.
We met an enologist, and he told us, I did some good rosé with it, and we start to make our first rosé with it.
He was like, don't screw this up. Like, don't be snobs. Don't just take the Syrah and the Grenache. Take the Chenonceau. Keep that vineyard.
I think it's a great choice. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. It's an interesting... It was an interesting sort of journey because it's a grape that no one else has got.
There is 400 hectares in France.
And so you have to you can't go and ask somebody how they do that. It's very, very rare. So you can't ask somebody how to vinify.
Heritage.
Well, it should be much more expensive. If it's
It's underpriced. So yeah, no. Right. No, but it's kind of interesting. We had to learn to vinify it ourselves because you can't be like, oh, how's your Grenache this year? It's just not, it doesn't do the same thing. So we do the red. This year that we did the red, it was on the skins 4 days. Look at those black hands. It was we'll do that 4 days.
Because we make a rosé de saignée.
Right. So
that means we take a huge part of and we concentrate the grapes. And after, that's why we don't want to extract too much.
It can get a really green tannin going, and so we it was on the skins 4 days. 4 days.
So what do you do? So what do you do with the red? So it goes in the assemblage.
In the cocorico.
It goes in cocorico.
Ah, okay.
And so we pressed that Sunday. We pressed it Sunday.
Yeah.
The Chenonceau red is done. We're waiting for the Malo.
My cousin came for lunch to have time with us, and in the morning we decided to press it, and he spent the day helping us to press.
Yeah. Did he give him a change of clothes? He was like lovely, like sweater. He was looking.
You're using your friend very, very well. You're using your friend very, very well.
And family.
It was my cousin. Family.
Family.
Then he gets to be photographed on the internet.
Yeah.
Don't be confronted too much with those guys. You're going to work very hard.
We'll put you to work. I know.
I've loved discovering the Chenonceau grape through your rosé, guys. And we were talking earlier to some of our latest COVID French winemakers. And Anne in Fronton was talking about the Negrette grape, and David Siri was talking about his very kind of old approach to his Minervois as well, old Sanso vineyards and Syrah and stuff. And it's a real pleasure to be able to I'm sure the customers would agree, to discover these new wines that people wouldn't have come across before. So that's awesome. And Ben and Kata, I believe, Rod dropped a bomb on us yesterday. Revealing the latest Darnault East Hope rosé project, and no pressure.
I mean, we actually.
He's counting on you to make that kiwi fruit shine.
Teach them how to make a rosé. No, it's we've been talking about that for actually, like when we did because we started with the Sauvignon and. We were starting, I was telling him, like, how come can you make great rosé where you are? Like, I mean, you've got perfect weather for it. You've got the good grapes for it. So, and he said, I don't know, we make them like Sauvignon. I said, well, maybe that's not the right.
Maybe you should change that.
And so, I mean, no, it was a joke, but that's how it started. I mean, like we
not really. Not really. Not a joke. No joke.
We just it was just so we'll discussion with that, and like we spent quite a bit of time here. Like he came in France to visit us to work on that project. He was supposed to be here with us
right now
for the harvest
with his family.
That was the plan with his family. Like they were going to spend a month in with us.
Cool.
I know, and he sent me like a mail the other day saying, like, with a sniff saying we were supposed to go. I mean, like, it's quite, but it's still. So we are working on those projects, like sort of talking to each other, and so we'll see what's going to happen. But there might be a rosé from New Zealand who's a little French
wine. I like it.
It's fun. It's a nice thing. Again, like to me, like we are. I think we are respecting each other very much for what we're doing, and I do respect Rod very much. And so it's a way to work together like that. Is a way to keep basically our friendship also going, and have some good reason to catch up. And the point of basically we were going to work actually on a red project also this year on the Cabernet Franc project in the Minervois. So that was to say, okay, I'm coming with my family and we work on that project, but it's not happening. So that's we'll see. But hopefully next year they will come and join us, and we'll have definitely lunch and dinner with those guys there.
Okay, you guys can come over for lunch. It's been too long.
Yeah.
And what can you bring to the table when, you know, I think we explained how you can coax that extra fruit and zip out of the French Sauvignon grapes. What would you be looking to help Rod on you know?
Yeah, well,
sort of French rosé style in New Zealand.
Yeah, well, there's discussion about it. Like, you know, it's quite technical discussion. Like, basically, it's what sort of yeast we're using. Also, like least contact, a lot of least contact that we're doing. There's a different matter, like, because with French rosé, I mean, not French rosé in general, but if we're talking about the south of France, Provence, south of France rosé, the aromatic in a way is not up in your nose, like except like if you compare to basically some Spanish rosé where you have very strong sweet nose. There's subtlety in French rosé that we try to keep, which is quite different in a way that when you making Sauvignon Blanc, for example, or where you really want to have a fragrant expression. Where with those sort of rosé we're doing is there is a little note of fruit, but there's also some savoriness to it. So all that is linked to some least contact. We're using some yeast. There's also a way to the way we mature wine, to the way we're keeping the temperature. All that is little details that, and again, like I mean, Rod is a great winemaker and he's been everywhere, so he knows already. Like there's only a little tweak that we're talking about and saying, okay, maybe you can try that. And so yeah, and that's the way it is. Like, you know, there's nothing that's no special recipe, but just little tweak to make it a bit less New Zealand and a bit more French. But, you know, at the end, it will be a New Zealand rosé. It will be a New Zealand rosé. And I think it's going to be nice, but, you know, we'll see. Actually, I haven't, like I think, have you probably received samples that I still haven't received? Like I'm supposed to receive samples anytime.
I'm still waiting, Ben.
Are you still waiting?
I look out the window every morning, waiting for the postie, and every day so far this week, no, nothing.
You know? Such frustration watching all of these interviews with people whose wines I've never tasted. I kept sitting there going, God, I want to taste that. That must be amazing. It's
totally.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, speaking of amazing, let's. I'm almost 3 hours drinking wine tonight. But let's end it on a high with the Wazzo 2014. Hopefully, lots of people watching are drinking this as well.
3 hours,
like here, Jen and Didier.
I know that's a big commitment. So we're doing this. We're doing this.
Oh, that's great, man. That's very great.
The nose is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Very cool.
It's so alive and fragrant. Like it's so young. Yeah? It's still very young.
Yeah.
And it's it's 6 years old. So which here is quite quite an older wine.
It's very alive.
Don't really age wines that much here.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's Old Vine Carignan and Grenache and Syrah.
It has that. To me, it has that bee wax smell. Like I always have in Carignan. In good Carignan, like a bit of bee wax, cire d'abeille.
Okay.
Abeille. Just côté beeswax. Yeah, and incense.
And incense. I love this.
And iron.
Iron.
It's like it smells like it's bloody.
That's from the Carignan.
Yeah, it's bloody nose. Yeah.
I feel like it has. Don't tell Didier, but I feel like it has a cinnamon thing too, and he hates cinnamon, so don't tell him.
But that's where you see in the Languedoc, in some great wine, how easy even like big wines can get easy drinking by aging them a bit. Like those wine probably 3 or 4 years ago were sort of a bit big and jammy.
Bigger tannins.
It's like they're drinking some.
They become fragrant.
Yeah, and that's what we've been doing a lot of tasting lately with our other friends' wine. All the vintage, and it's like, wow, it's so easy drinking. It's so it needs a bit of time sometimes.
Yeah, it does. It needs a bit of time, and especially I think also, especially how we made wine in 2014, but because I think that our winemaking style and the winemaking style maybe in the area in general has evolved, and we are making sort of lighter, not, I mean, we're in the Languedoc, the light is like light, but tension, lighter wines with more tension, with a little bit more acidity, that are more aérien, that I don't know how you say aérien in English, but like kind of elevated, rather than them being so massive and so jammy, and so, you know, you have just so much of this
overpowering.
It's all, and I think we're trying to get that to, you know, have sort of less extraction, slightly less ripeness, not just that crazy ripeness where it's like jammy.
I remember the first vintage we were making wine, and our obsession was extracting. Avec le,
we were like the pigeur. What's a pigeur in English? We just
punch down.
We were just punching them down, you know, so that it would be. And it was just like it needed like 10 years.
Yeah, but I think every winemaker, I think when you're getting, we tend to do less, more we're getting older. Like you can ask any winemaker. Like I remember when I was 20, you want to do more. Like, what can I do now? Like you know, so 2 to 3.
Like infusion. We put the lid on, and just let it. You know,
we're a bit more lazy.
You don't want it to extract.
No, that's right. And I think I'm sure every winemaker can relate to that now. I can say, okay, 20 years ago, what do you do? Like I do much less now.
Which is what's interesting about selling in 2014 and reacting to everybody's comments about 2014. I do not remember. We made it 6 years ago, you know? And so like, what did we actually do in the winery? It's a long time ago, you know, it really is. And I know that our style has really evolved since then. So it's nice that
I can say like Angel are very lucky, because you see that's something which is quite rare, that to be able to access some older vintage.
Nobody can ever believe that
people, you know,
like,
I mean, it's very rare in general. Like people don't get access to that. So that's a great, and they will get the 2015 next year. So every year they will get some old vintage.
Yeah,
that's great. That's perfect. That's really cool.
Well done.
Yeah, that's super rare. I mean, it does happen with like great fine wine where you can buy, but for like good,
but people who are sort of starting out as we were, you know, and this is our 6th vintage. Yeah. So it's not like we're from a big maison that has all of this history and is keeping wines aside because they have unlimited funds and can do that.
No, but you have been able to keep that stock, which is quite amazing.
We have. We eat beans.
Yeah, you are. No, they're very smart operator. Very, very smart. No, but you are both very smart. Yeah, very smart. Yeah, cool.
It's delicious.
I'm getting I'm getting a lot of grief from people. I can see all your comments. Yeah, I'm 3 hours deep. Yep. Lots of people are wondering when Jen and Didier's wines are available for purchase. I believe the next order is due, or the shipment is due to us in around mid-October. So we're very excited. So if you missed that initial marketplace deal, we can't wait to get the next. So I think we're looking at the 2015 vintage next, Jen, is it?
Yeah. We have a couple of bottles left from the 14.
Yeah.
And after Angel will discover the 15.
Oh, it's delicious. Really good. Beautiful.
Thanks. Yeah, no, we have some interesting things out that have been, tasted. We'll see where this goes.
Absolutely. I've got a question here from Prakash. I think you mentioned with the wife, I think it was, how does co-fermenting affect the wine? How does it benefit or impact?
I've been asked this, and I would love to have an intelligent answer to it. I've just never fermented them separately, so I don't.
It was a problem of that and
space. It's a space issue in our winery, and I was saying that the last time that we talked on one of these. I mean, that I had a friend who'd actually done the test with Syrah and Cinsault separately, together, and then separately again. The opposite, sorry. Together, separately, and then together again. And the together had different aromas, different structure, and was actually I love this wine. A really sort of this lovely otherness that was not the two separated and then blended. I don't know that, I mean, I would imagine it's the same with ours, but we've never done it separately. So it's hard to compare that.
So what I could say is like Cofermenting is always better. The problem is like if you have two grape variety that you would like to co-ferment, sometimes they're not ripe at the same time.
Well, see, and that's what's great about these two, is they are.
But if they do ripe at the same time, it is the best way to do it. But most of the time, like a lot of the time, the grapes are not ripe at the same time, so you don't have
space. I mean, often you don't have vats that are the size of that final blend. Whereas these, we harvested, I think it was a Tuesday and a Wednesday. So they were harvested one right after the other, right into the same vat. So
yeah.
And then we have more than last year, and I think the quality is even. I think it's a really good vintage in the white. I'm really excited about the white.
Yeah, white is a great. I think we're getting into a very good vintage for the white.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really good. I'm excited about
it. Good. Yeah.
And Jen, I think you've taken like a duck to water to the old interaction piece on the website and responding to people's comments. And how's that been for you guys? Like hearing from real people.
I was talking again to Simon, the Archangel, and Simon and I agreed that we're just chatty. And so having people chat to us all the time about wine, it's just really not hard. Like people say interesting things to me, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna tell them about this. Like I've got that to share with that person. Like that's not hard for me. There are things I don't do well, and that's not one of them. Like I love chatting to people. So
corkscrews, Jen, and
corkscrews. I know.
Yeah.
I know about cork playing. Yes, talk to me about that cork.
I like to know what's in your handbag, Jen.
That tiny one there.
And look at that, and that's a big cork. I know, it's ridiculous. I came up with another one. I'm gonna do a haggis post, but I had something else I was gonna do. I can't remember, but I actually really think it's fun. I really enjoy it. I love hearing people. I mean, people tell me about their meal, and sometimes they'll tell me about their meal when you can tell they just drank that bottle. And they're really right in there in that bottle, and they're like, I'm just going to tell her right now how I feel. And I love that. It really comes through, you know?
And Tom and John send us a picture when they open the box.
Oh, yeah.
And they put all the 6 bottles on the table.
And we got it, guys. And it came, like, we put those in those boxes. We saw those boxes leave. And then you see them at these people's houses in these places you've never been. You have no idea. And they want to share that with you, and it's kind of cool. Like I really love it. Yeah, I know, I really love it. Anyway,
it's great to see those people really appreciate what you do, and they do. And there's there's very little cynicism, which is great. Like
it really isn't. It's very kind.
It's genuine and sincere, and great. And so it's amazing.
It's amazing.
And it's an opportunity for us to have this kind of feedback. We never had.
It's amazing. It's crazy.
1,000 feedback from your wine at the same time from different people.
It's like an incredible scientific study. We have a huge group. You usually have like 2 people who will then give you feedback. Whereas everybody's giving feedback. We know how many corked bottles there were. You have so much information.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's fascinating. You really learn a lot about your vintage. Like people were talking about sediment and saying, oh, this bottle had a lot of sediment. Well, it's 6 years old, and sometimes, bottles that have aged differently, an older bottle, you can have a lot of sediment, which is why I do recommend to the angels out there to be careful pouring out the Wazzo, the last glass, because we always have to sort of preserve, and back in 2014 as well, to preserve our aromas and everything, we have very lightly filtered. So
don't drink too fast.
Yes. So go easy on that one. Because it's an older bottle, and you hear that directly from people who are like, what's this all about,
And get out the tea strainer for the last glass.
Yeah. I wouldn't go that far.
I do.
I believe you. I believe you, Kat. I believe you. Okay.
And Ben and Kat, when you're a couple of months into your naked experience, like Jen and Didier are now, like, what do you look back? Do you have any advice or any reflections on like what the next period could mean, or what's in store for Jen and Didier?
What would you say?
Well, I mean, again, for me, the journey with Naked is all positive. It's 100% positive. Like everything was more than expectation. Every time it was more than expectation. Every year, every month, it was more than expectation. I mean, we had all that time with COVID was a difficult time for everything, but actually business was great. So when you have, everything falling apart, like you don't see your family, you don't see, but at least because of Naked, we knew we were selling wine, we were selling lots of wine, we're actually making people
and
sharing. So that's, everything. So so expect for more than what you expect. Like it's going to be more than what you expect.
Just expect a lot of generosity. It's very generous.
And you're going to meet more people. Hopefully you meet meeting more people. We're missing tour. Tour is something we probably going to miss. We're missing this winter. So hopefully next summer will happen. But you make new friends. You make new customers. You make new. It's life changing for us.
Very supportive.
It has been
very supportive.
Great people, and so it's great that you guys are part of that. It's super cool.
It's amazing.
And,
thanks to you.
Oh wow!
Guy right here, over there, that one. That's him. These guys.
I had to insist. I called. I don't know if those guys remember. I called Jen and I said, Jen, there's a COVID rescue there, and with Naked Wine, and I think you should be up for it. I think they can help you, and it's fun.
And she,
no, we don't have any Parker note. We don't have any Parker note. They won't like us. And so I said, Jen, no. And
shut up. I wrote you back an email, and then I called you, and I was like, all right, let's talk about this.
I'm sorry.
What did I do? It's interesting you ask him like what advice he has for us. If I need advice, if we need advice about lots of things around, I honestly very often, there are other people, but I will go to bed. So the advice is there. We're getting it.
No, that's right. That's super cool. That and I knew you were going to fit in totally in. So that's why, I was like, I was thrilled when you got in, and it's great. It's perfect. It's perfect, and it'll be fun.
Love it.
It's gonna be fun. And it's amazing. It's been for us. It's like we started 10 years ago already. I mean, we're growing old together. And hopefully in 10 more years we're gonna be here. So who does that sort of commitment for a decade already? A decade.
That's crazy.
So that's,
it's been a tough 6 months for so many people. That goes without saying, but if you cling to positives and look forward with some optimism, it's been amazing to meet you, Jen and Didier, and discover your wines, and thank you, Ben and Kat, for introducing them, and I know, seeing all the comments and seeing all the feedback from customers, they've loved meeting you guys as well. So thank you, all four of you, for joining us tonight, and thank you for continuing to make amazing wines and out the vineyards at the moment, picking grapes and battling nature and doing everything you do for us. We hugely appreciate everything we do, and we'll continue to support you by buying your wines. So it's been a blast tonight, and thanks so much.
We are so grateful too. Thanks a lot, mate. It's been such a good pleasure. Let's keep going.
All the best, guys. Cheers.
Thanks a lot,
Cheers,
guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Thanks a lot.